Hey, War of the Vision fans, welcome back to another episode of War of the Visions. We're going to journey back into the world of War of the Visions, and today we're going to go over my 300 plus days show and tell on my main account. Let's go ahead and begin by talking about all the different units that I have, my plans in terms of what I want to do for EX Job 25 and forward, and of course, what are my possible plans in terms of what units I potentially want to seek out in the future. As you can see, I have a lot of limited units. I got Kane, Halloween Leela, Worry Blight, Agrius, Ramza, of course, Old Man Sid, and Cecil, of course, to finish it off. Now, obviously, I have almost every single UR in the game. Actually, with Keto Fate added, the only two units that I need, well, let me rephrase that. I don't need any units, right? The only unit that I do not own that are of new are going to be Niv, Sakura, and of course, Mr. One Punch Man that's coming up on Wednesday. Of course, I also have Thancred. And at the end of this week, we're also going to be doing Thancred 70 Summons video because, well, I didn't realize you could actually purchase more tickets. So I did purchase those tickets, and I think today is the last day, so I should have 70, and we'll go ahead and pop those in early, well, actually probably middle of this week. I also have Mustadio, and Mustadio for the tower actually been doing all right. His percentages in terms of turning people into petrified isn't very high, unfortunately. But to be fair, his faith is fairly low. I do want it to be 97. So I got a lot to work on. I think this tower essentially made me realize that I need to start working on my older units, drastically improve them. Even though I actually doing fairly well in the tower, it's just, I think life could be so much easier when floor 50 comes around. I think I definitely need to go back and kind of start doing diligent work, right? I've been using Etra as the tank, kind of like slap Vile Love on her and just let people kill her just to get aggro. Because essentially, one of the strategies I'm using for the tower is I let a lot of my units die with my stronger units still running around. So when the units that are dead turn into crystal, I essentially get another heal off for my stronger units. So Gafgarion seems like to be waning in terms of power level, especially in the tower upper floors. He really doesn't do a whole lot. Shadowling still maintains her power in terms of doing really obnoxious things, right? Her weapon paralyzes. She can completely stop a unit. So essentially she can just take on a unit by herself no matter how strong they are, as long as they're not immune to stop, of course. Mont is still doing work as a tank. Grace is still doing work as a super supporter. And actually Salir is still doing work as a damage dealer. I'm really finding that Istula is actually a quite good unit, especially for the tower, especially with the defense penetration added now. I think she's going to be great once I finish her off. Of course, now my newer projects, after I top off a lot of my older units in terms of getting the resonances up, are going to be working on some more tanks. And I think tanks is crucial in terms of conquering the towers, especially when you're trying to zerg a specific floor, because having tanks is crucial in maintaining aggro for a little while, and then having your other damage dealers kill as many units as possible. And that's kind of been my strategy. A lot of floors that are having a harder time, where a lot of my stronger units are running out of skills or taking too much damage from the previous floors, and I don't have to reset for the day, I go ahead and I zerg them with my army of little scrubs. And so far it's been doing pretty good. I think I got through 1 through 34 without a reset. So I did 1 through 34 yesterday because I forgot that I was supposed to needing more medals to actually finish off the ring that I got, which obviously I'll show you in a little bit. And so I spent all day climbing the floor again, because I finished clearing last Friday, but I worked Saturday, I took Sunday off, and then Monday I realized I had to get more medals. You need 7,800, I believe, to get all the medals to upgrade your ring from the 1-star to 5-star awakening. So essentially, I just go ahead and need that, and then I should be good to go. Okay, so now as far as the SR units, I think Murmur I finished. I used up my new Fragments of Thought to finish her off. I think she's going to be really good, especially maybe perhaps into Job EX25 and beyond. I think she's hopefully gain more speed, and I think ultimately that's what she lacks. But she can do really good damage, and she can actually absorb a decent amount of damage. I think, unfortunately, our Phoebe friend, besides her Trustmaster, kind of like decreased in the power level quite a bit, but maybe EX25, she'll see another boost. And then in terms of the other units, until you see an EX Job 25 boost, they're getting weaker and weaker in terms of power level. Like I said before, Zazan, I still cannot awaken him because I don't have any bronze. I don't know why the game is not giving us any more bronze, because we only need 2 bronze. And I'm not about to use any rainbows on him at this time especially. So besides those SR units and perhaps some of the MR units, what are my plans for Job EX25? Obviously, we have to kind of start looking at the legacy units, right? Because the legacy units are the ones that first came out during the game, and essentially those are going to be the ones that you will have the capability to take the EX Job 25 first. And I think the ones that I really want to concentrate on obviously will be Ayaka. As you can see, I just finished her, so I'm going to work on her quite a bit, and she's been proven to be a worthy unit in tower, even though I really haven't done anything for her. Just using her cures, her limit break, and she's still a powerhouse in the floors as a supporting unit. So I think I'll definitely aim for her to be one of the first units to take the EX25. And maybe I'm thinking actually about Rob, because I know a lot of folks like Rob, and he is actually quite powerful. And as I mentioned before, his armor is one of the better ones in the game in terms of increasing slash attack and increasing CT, a very potent combination with KOR Stern. On top of it, it does give him a little bit extra defense, so I think it's a great Trustmaster to have. Since I've been working on him anyways, I might as well attempt to perhaps take him to EX Job 25, since he'll be most likely one of my first damage dealers. And it makes total sense, right? And another unit that I think is quite powerful in this entire game is actually Frederica. I know I slept on her for a very long time. By the way, she's the first gunner I ever received, and as you can see, 10 months into the game, I still had not been working on her. I think at 125, she will be insane. What am I saying? I just made up a number. It's actually 120. At 120, I think she will be even more insane than before. So that's another unit I'm going to be slowly grinding up on. And then I think that's about it in terms of the legacy units. In terms of limited units, obviously, if we have the opportunity to do so, I will definitely go Augureus. I will definitely go Little Leela, Warrior of Light, and then of course, my still favorite character, Orlando. And I think Orlando, after he got that vision card buff, he is still a potent attacker in terms of any units that have any susceptibility to slash. And in the tower, he has proven time and time again he is going to be one of my go-to attackers. Even Kane has not shown that he is capable of being a potent attacker in the floors. Now obviously he is still pretty good with his own drain life, with his peers, and with his jumps. So overall he's still really good, but I still think Orlando is still considered one of the better attackers, even though he seems to be lowering in the JP tier list. Obviously I got a couple of more cards that I leveled up. As you can see, I am done with Tetrasilphid, and just gonna need a lot more Rainbow Spheres, and that one should be done. Obviously, I will be done today, since today is the last day to purchase the 99-cent pack in order to get the last 5 shards, plus an additional Rainbow Fragment of Thought, and therefore, actually what am I saying? It's not a Rainbow Fragment of Thought, a Rainbow Sphere. And so therefore, this one should be done too as soon as I get more Rainbow Spheres. This one is also done, just needing Rainbow Spheres, and this is essentially what the wall for me is right now. Obviously, I will have quite a decent amount of cards up leveled if I get more Rainbow Spheres, and that seems to be the issue. And I guess we're gonna have to just be very patient. Unless I gave us a humongous pack that, give us like 50 rainbow spears or something. So I have, obviously, as you can see, I just need 200. So I will be working on this last vision card shard from the guild shop. So I will need 200 at this point. So I need 100 more. So that will be what, 20 days, and we should be able to get that going. And then as far as the other vision cards, unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to take my time, because as I'm getting more copies of some of these more powerful cards that I decided to power up to max first, those additional turns into soul medals, and of course I can start slowly working on these other ones. And of course in the future, if they happen to give us the ability to do those, say, 10 UR shards and things like that from like a 2,000 page gem banner, I'll definitely get those going. And by the way, I promise that I will be uploading that one video in which last week I did do the summon on my phone. I have it uploaded. I'll most likely add that to one of the videos to end the rest of this week. Now, in terms of MRs, I think this goes without saying, if you're not a spender, you should definitely be looking at your MRs way more. So then you're looking at your URs, because simply put, it is just almost impossible to level up too many UR vision cards. So really, really powerful effects such as missile resistance, which is just coming quite handy for me in terms of the tower. You really want to work on these. You really want to max these out, right? Something that adds slash attack, or excuse me, slash resistances. These cards you need to really kind of go after. These are going to be your bread and butter in terms of conquering PvE content. And then of course cards like this, where it gives you actually offense, you need to work on these as well, because a max, it equals to about awakening level 2 or 3 on a UR. So you're definitely going to be much faster in getting these maxed out and getting these rolling. Now, as I mentioned before, if you're looking for agility, your Chocobo Yellow is most likely your best bet, especially if you're free to play, because of the fact that it's essentially free and is much easier to max out. You get 10% as opposed to the 15% of a UR. And of course, if you did end up saving quite a bit of Visiors, you probably should have gone in on the Black Rose card, because 15% is very powerful. And I tell you, thick thighs save lives. Wow, I mean, we're talking about whoever designed this. I gotta give him props, man. This is very voluptuous. I have made a few extra additions. Of course, I got all these old vintage items up and running. I got the healing mace to +5. I did that on stream, by the way. And I need to go ahead and work on Ras Gethi. Of course, I need to get that finished. I need to get my Platinum Romp finished. And of course, I need to get Lohegrin, which is already +5. I just need to kind of start working on it, because essentially one of the biggest walls in this game now is books for a lot of players. Mage Masher, I'm going to take the opportunity of this week to get a +5, even though my meter is not actually up to par in terms of leveling. And I think that's essentially it. And let's take a look at armor, our finished product. Platinum Robe still +1. I'm going to be working on over time a +5, because the Platinum Robe has shown that is a really powerful one. I got the Holy Knight Shoulder. I do want to craft the second one. I think this has shown to me that it is quite good in terms of tower. Missile resistance 8 is really good. Evasion, I mean, it doesn't really matter, because chances are when you slap that thing on, you're probably slapping it on a unit that's going to be taking hits. Because remember, shooters have those sharpshoots and barrages, and a lot of those pretty much going to hit you anyways. Iron Plate, I got a +4. I'm running out of books, so I got to try to get a +5 to at least use it as an armor set for slash resistance. And of course, I just did craft this +5 Bale. Need to get that finished in terms of stats. Sortilege, I think +2 is way more than enough in terms of what they need to do. And that is essentially it. As you can see, tie ring that was done from last time. And here is the luminous armlet. As you can see, awakening, I will need 185. I have 55, so I will need 130, and that's exactly what's left over in the mock shop. And I should be done. I'm on the last floor, which will give me 400 points, and that 400 points will add to my 7,400 points, and I think that will give me the final enough materials to get this luminous armlet finished. In terms of crafting, still probably need to go for more ribbons. I think this is definitely one of the more powerful items in the game. Platinum Helm, I do want to finish that as well. But I think if you go for the lower rarity helms, they're good enough in terms of giving you... Actually, no. All the other helms give you missile resistance. So let me take that back. This is pretty solid. 10% slash resistance is very nice. So Thermasa, I have not even worked on this. The reason being is I'm working on my magical comp, and it's taking quite an awful long time to get those units up. Elven Bow, I will slowly work on that. Purple Lightning, I'm going to have to hold off because I don't have enough items. And obviously, Laswell is not being worked on this time. Prunus Lamina, I have 2 copies, and I will get that going. And then, of course, I have Rasael Galthi, pretty much enough to do a lot more. Mage Masher, I should have enough to craft almost a +5 here, right? And then essentially that's it. And then we'll do the weapon. And I do maybe want to do another +5 Armor of Light if Warrior Blood ever makes a return. Because I think this armor has essentially taken me to over the top for many encounters. Veil Gauntlet, I have another one ready to go. Sleep Blade, I don't really think you need a +5 because I think this weapon has really been my go-to weapon for the tower. I think I'm going to craft a bunch of these, so then just slap it all across the board and just have crowd control. Killer Bow, I have 2 copies. I have another copy of Healing Mace. I want to get another Fies Lacerna. Haven't crafted this because of the fact that, like I said before, don't have enough books. Wolf Mask, I can craft one of those too. And of course, Holy Knight Shoulder, I can craft another one. And if it ever makes a return, I'm going to be crafting a lot more of these because I think this thing is pretty awesome. I definitely want at least one more of this Lohengrin so I can get 2 copies of +5, both magic of course. And essentially that is it, boys and girls. That is a lot of stuff for armoring. So therefore you're ready when the new improved versions of these things are going to be 3 stars, so you can be working on those. Obviously these new additions haven't been really working on them too much, because one of the most important things I learned about this game is make sure you get the resonances up on these things with your characters, because the faster you get this done, the faster you have a peace of mind when you're entering the tower when it comes around, because it is very crucial to get that maximum stats. And if you haven't done so, I've done a video on resonance and how important it is. Go check that out. So what exactly do I want to see in the future? Well, 1-year anniversary coming up. I hope to finish off a lot of my units that needs to be topped off. And I think going forward in the future, some units that I'm really seeking out will be Titus. And of course, whatever that number unit android from Nier collaboration, I think it's 9S, we get him for free. I should say we get it for free. So those 2 units definitely welcome on the roster. I will work on those. And in terms of summoning, honestly, I'll be brutally honest. There aren't a whole lot of units I'm looking for. However, that being said, Thick Thighs Save Lives leader Black Rose Helena, or Helena, however you want to pronounce her name, will probably be my #1 target. I love the fact that she's dark. I love the fact that she's a arithmetician. I think, in my honest opinion, she is a must summon, and we'll cover her when she does arrive. In terms of UR mons or any other crazy overpowered units in people's minds, like Yuna and UR mon, I don't think I'm gonna really go after them. But if I get them, of course I'll work on them. But I'm not gonna actively go after UR mon. I think eventually, with my luck, he will come to the team. But first is Yuna. She's the only toughest call. I think she's gonna be one of the best supporting units in the entire game at the point of release, right? At the point of her banner. But am I really gonna go after her and spend, like, I'm talking about $500-600? That seems to be iffy. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. So that's all the time for this video. I hope you guys enjoy show and tell, because as I mentioned before, show and tells are very crucial of when you figure out, when you reach certain milestones in time of releasing of this game, you're gonna see where you stand in terms of how you're taking on the content. And for me, I had a frustrating time with the tower for the first several floors, but now it's much easier for me, because once you beat it the first time, it's much easier to go over it again. However, I feel like I could even make my life much easier had I just been working on my resonances and then diligently working on those units that I need to take into the tower. Relying on the units that I have is getting the job done, but it's definitely a lot more tedious than it needs to be. So, hope you guys take care of yourself until I see you again tomorrow. And of course, there's a chance that I will be releasing another Final Fantasy XIV video tonight. So, I hope your luck is going to be on your side when you're summoning for One Punch Man on Wednesday. And of course, Nashtaters is going to be taking a break for the rest of the day. Take care. Peace.